The race to the White House. Let's talk about that. A busy day of campaigning ahead as former President Donald Trump is going to head to the battleground state of Pennsylvania for a rally there.
Meanwhile, the vice president heading to Texas. She'll be in Houston later today, where she's going to host a fundraiser. All this while the Veep stakes comes down to the final stretch. Soon we will know who the person is.
Lucas Tomlinson is live at the White House. Hey, Lucas.
Good morning, guys. Former President Donald Trump returning to Pennsylvania for the first time since an assassin tried to take his life. You mentioned the vice president going to Houston. Our own Peter Doocy picks up the coverage down there. Now, yesterday, the vice president was asked the question on everybody's mind, just who is going to be her running mate.
Madam Vice President, have you chosen your VP yet? Have you chosen yet?
So not yet. Now here's the medium list of who Harris is likely to choose from. Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, the former Navy pilot and astronaut. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, the popular governor in a critical swing state. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, a union favorite. Kentucky's Governor Andy Beshear, one of the younger candidates, a 2000 grad of Vanderbilt. Treasury Secretary Pete Buttigieg, the youngest choice and winner of the Iowa caucus back in 2020. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, who could self-fund the race. And Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo, who is Rhode Island's governor, cut taxes every year and removed 8,000 pages of regulations. Now, Harris and one of the names we just mentioned will be hitting the campaign trail next week, heading to Philadelphia, Wisconsin, Detroit, Raleigh, Savannah, Phoenix, and Las Vegas. Now, Donald Trump will begin his day in Chicago and be interviewed by a cadre of journalists, including our own Harris Faulkner, before going to Pennsylvania's state of Harrisburg. Again, his first trip to the state since the assassination attempt on his life. Now, this morning, we're also learning that the White House is forgiving another 30 million students across the country from their loans. That brings the total to about $170 billion. For context, that was the U.S. Army's budget last year, guys.
Yeah, and people are scratching their head. Where is that money coming from? Lucas, thank you very much for detailing what's going on.
So let's talk about the election, 2024, because it looks as though Donald Trump's got a moving target. Not only is he no longer running against Joe Biden, I'm not sure he's running against Vice President Kamala Harris, because she seems to be changing all of her positions, especially where she failed epically, and that's at the border. Listen to this ad.
This is America's border czar, and she's failed us. Under Harris, over 10 million illegally here. 250,000 Americans dead from fentanyl.
We showed you that ad yesterday. It started running in the battleground states. And so now what is happening is that is a very powerful issue. You know, the top two issues are the economy and the border. We've been telling you that for about the last 6 months now. So what Harris is doing now is essentially she's trying to say, look, I'm on the right side, and the guy who will not debate me, that's what she suggested yesterday in Atlanta, he's on the wrong side. We've got proof that she said this. Here it is from a big rally yesterday in Atlanta.
So I was the Attorney General of a border state. In that job, I walked underground tunnels between the United States and Mexico on that border with law enforcement officers. I went after transnational gangs, drug cartels, and human traffickers that came into our country illegally. I prosecuted them in case after case, and I won. Donald Trump, on the other hand, has been talking a big game about securing our border, but he does not walk the walk. Or as my friend Quavo would say, he does not walk it like he talks it. When I am president, I will work to actually solve the problem.
So they were eating it up there in Atlanta yesterday, but ultimately what she said is not accurate because we've got the receipts, as the kids say.
I just cannot even believe that some people, look at all those people behind her, like shaking their head, oh, yeah.
Look at that.
They actually
border crossings up 232%.
Exactly. Under Biden and Kamala Harris, more than 8 million encounters on the border. Under Trump, 2.4.
Keep in mind, she is in charge. She was in charge of the border. She's vice president of the United States. She's got a president that really doesn't do much. A great opportunity to assert herself, wide open. She's done nothing, been an epic fail. So her plan B is to pretend like she had nothing to do with the last administration, and that one piece of legislation, bipartisan legislation, that may or may not have been good to pass, she says because Donald Trump was against that, because he wants to do his own thing and saw too many holes with that. She says he's weak on the border. The problem is he was president already, and someone should whisper to her that she's actually vice president.
Well,
that if she really wanted to assert herself on the border, she would have done it. Instead, she did root causes, which was one visit to the Triangle countries and a Zoom call.
Well, they need to pass out flip-flops like they did, was it Kerry?
John Kerry.
Yeah, they need to pass out flip-flops because now there's an article in the New York Times where her campaign is anonymously saying she's actually flip-flopped on 4 big issues. Now, all of a sudden, she is for fracking. Do you hear that, Pennsylvania?
Right.
She wants to increase funding on the border after she already said she wants to reimagine ICE. She does not want a mandatory buyback on guns, even though we heard the soundbite. She said she'll come to your door, she'll pay you for your guns, and it's mandatory.
Ainsley, this is why you have primaries. This usually gets worked out during the primaries.
You're right, and no longer supports single-payer health insurance plans like she said she would support.
She would have lost the primary because she would run on this unless she was going to primary for 7 or 8 months and change her mind on this. This is why this is so unfathomable, unthinkable, and unprecedented, because she's unvetted, even though she's in power, because she did so little. You're forced to go back to 2020 when she ran and failed spectacularly. And now to run again, she's got to change everything she believes in and has said.
Really
and she wants us to accept it. It's never before has this happened.
She wants us to believe it. It's not going to happen. I mean, she has the most progressive, liberal voting record.
Yeah,
more so than Bernie Sanders.
You know, Ainsley, I don't know that they need to pass out flip-flops like they did back with Kerry back in the day. They just need to label, and I'm sure they will label her as a flip-flop. But here's the thing. When you look at the biggest flip-flops in American presidential history, the first one, obviously, was George Herbert Walker Bush when he said, "Read my lips, no new taxes." What happened to him? He lost. Then John Kerry, the ultimate flip-flopper, he was for the war in Iraq before he was against the war in Iraq. And what happened to him? He lost. So, will that be something that will disqualify her? We got less than 100 days to find out.
Seven major flip-flops, and she hasn't said them. She just leaked them to a newspaper. And now, can't wait for that first sit-down interview.
She's got more flip-flops than Walmart. That's where we buy our flip-flops.
Right.
It is.
Right.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.